And we're going to talk a little bit more with Niall Stange, White House columnist for The Hill, joining us right now. And we're actually talking about a completely different story here. We want to talk about the U.S. political impact of Ukraine's gain. So what we've been seeing, surprisingly, is that Ukraine is actually pushing back on Russian forces and making some headway. So we wanted to give our viewers a peel back of the curtain and see how politically could that change the game for how much we are actually investing in this war in terms of the billions of dollars committed to Ukraine.
I think it could change the game, Adrienne, or it could certainly change the dynamics in a very fundamental way. What we've witnessed up until this point has been a fear, even among people who are broadly supportive of Ukraine, that they're inevitably fighting a losing battle, a losing war. That has changed. That perception has changed just in the past few days. Ukrainian forces seizing back about 1,000 square miles of territory. So now the argument is completely different. Now the argument is Ukraine could actually win this thing. Should we give more aid or expedite aid that has already been appropriated in the hope that the Ukrainian advance can reach a critical mass and keep going?
Let's talk about something that retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis said. He had a warning on NewsNation on Monday night. Let's listen.
If we know anything from Putin all the way back to 1999, when he was in charge of the Chechen war for the first time, is that when he is pushed, he will push back hard.
And that's not something that's surprising or something that we haven't heard before. He doesn't think that there will be unconventional or nuclear weapons yet, though that's been a concern among Americans for quite some time. What if this war does escalate? What's next for the U.S. and NATO?
That's the key question, is what the US and NATO would do in response to that kind of an escalation. Obviously, Vladimir Putin cannot really afford to lose this struggle. It would be ruinous to his reputation and standing. We know he's a pretty ruthless figure anyway, and he could escalate in some pretty catastrophic means. Does the US want to respond to that in kind and risk getting dragged into a broader war, a more direct war? So far, the Biden administration has been very adamant that it doesn't want that. There are also other ways Mr. Putin could escalate short of using non-conventional weapons. He could institute a draft in Russia, for example, but clearly a very volatile situation. And Mr. Putin, is very dangerous if his back's against the wall or if he's cornered.
And one more question for you. Our recent NewsNation poll did find Russia is on the list, as you mentioned how dangerous Putin is, of countries that Americans see as a bigger threat to the U.S. just after China. So this week, Xi Jinping and Putin have another meeting. How concerning is this?
It is concerning because obviously China, if it were to come more explicitly to Russia's aid, would make a huge difference. Now, in terms of American political concern, I'm not sure that the Ukrainian war or the Russian invasion will really determine many votes, but certainly a closer alliance, a more direct alliance between China and Russia would be concerning, would prolong the war at the very least, would increase Russia's chances of victory, and all of those things in aggregate are very troubling from an American perspective, or a Ukrainian one, of course, for that matter.
And if it's troubling for America, I would say it's troubling for the globe. Niall Stange, White House columnist for The Hill. Always good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.